Hello, everybody, and welcome to Late Night Football. It's finished. Liverpool won. West Bromwich Albion won, and what a game! What a game! I mean, it's 2 points dropped. You have to say for Liverpool, and it is a bit of a frustration for Liverpool, and I think it's a great point for the West Brom. I think in the relegation fight, not just in terms of the fact that it's a point, but I think also the fact that it's a psychological boost that they will have. They've now got a draw with Manchester City at the Etihad. They've now got a draw with Liverpool at Anfield. Those are tough places to get points from, and it's incredible. It's an incredible performance. And just to break it down, though, I think there's a lot to discuss about the game in general. But I think it's a little bit sad. We'll probably look at it from Liverpool's perspective. But I thought West Brom were very good in that second half, and they might have actually shown something that Klopp might have to work on. But let's begin. Let's begin with the first half, and let's talk about. I mean, that first goal was brilliant. It's a great pass from Matip, and I think that was probably one time where West Brom looked. I think well, probably for the first of two times I thought that in the game where West Brom looked like completely exposed and like they had nothing. In other phases of play, you always felt that there was a defender that got in the way, there was block or something. But there was two moments in the game, and this was the first one where you thought that West Brom were completely cut open, and you could see basically the gist of that was one of the defenders, I think Ajayi, kind of got distracted with Firmino, and they left Mane, and Mane had that space between the two centre halves to go in and then score a goal. It was a sumptuous finish. I've said this many times. I feel Mo Salah is probably the most underrated player in the Premier League because I think he's the amount of the numbers that he puts up. He plays in a team with a lot of attackers, but in many games, I feel like he's a much better player than a lot of people give him credit for. And I know a lot of people think he's a great player, but I think he just doesn't get that credit enough. Maybe because he's not European, but he's a fantastic, phenomenal player. And it was a great goal. And at that point, you really thought Liverpool were just going to roll over West Brom. They were going to get a couple more in the first half, maybe get another one, try and see the game out. And they had chances. But I think what West Brom did was they rode their luck a little bit, but they also stayed compact. And as I was watching that first game, to me, it was frustrating to watch it because I was like, this is not going to get, West Brom anywhere because, they'll probably, repel shots. They'll repel, they'll do whatever they need to do, but they're not going to get up the pitch. So they're not going to hurt Liverpool offensively. And, if they keep allowing Liverpool to have that space to just, make passes, find, players, eventually Liverpool will get that second goal. It's not like they're going to keep them quiet. But there was a lot of luck riding. I don't think there was that one chance. I think that was there, that the half chance that West Brom had. But other than that, I felt like Liverpool were pretty comfortable in the first half. I put the tweet out as well. I thought Liverpool will finish the job when they come out in the second half because just the way West Brom were playing, it didn't look like they had any answer to break Liverpool down, to do anything to hurt Liverpool. I didn't think they had anything in them. And then the second half came, and and I want to give Big Sam credit here. So I'm going to say that this was probably part of the plan, which was just try and stay compact, try and keep themselves in the game at the end of the first half. And then the second half, try and open up a little bit more. Maybe Liverpool will be a little bit more complacent, a little bit more frustrated, and try and find spaces, because there are spaces. Liverpool, the one thing that we've noticed this season is Liverpool are very weak in some ways, and I don't want to call it weak, but they have this weakness or this deficiency in terms of when players play through them. They're very good if you try to pass around them, you try to break them down. Liverpool are very good, because they've got players that run back. I don't think they're even that vulnerable on the counter attack, even though they had a couple of moments today. But I don't think they're that vulnerable on the counter attack because they've got two fast fullbacks. They've got midfielders to get back in position really quickly. But if you can really play early balls very quickly through them, and if you have willing runners, obviously, and hold the ball, there are issues. That's what Fulham did. That's what Aston Villa did. And that's where I think West Brom was starting to get a little bit of joy, where they pushed a little bit up, not too much, but they pushed a little bit up. So they were kind of starting to find some spaces in that midfield. When I say they play through them, meaning that there are spaces and gaps that they leave between midfield and defense. Sometimes you can exploit that. I think that's been Liverpool's strength, is that they can compact the pitch, they can compress the pitch a lot between defense and attack. The gap between defense and attack is very narrow. So what they actually do is they basically tell the opposition that if you dare play a long ball over us, over the top, and try and see if you can catch us out that way. And then what that does is that often gives the ball back, and Liverpool can recycle. So usually they're good at that. But this season, what I've noticed is as the game goes on, the defense and the attack, the gap starts to sort of increase a little bit. And what happens is in times they also start to separate a little bit. So do the hands here. So basically, usually what happens, the pattern of plays, it goes this way, but sometimes they also try to go this way. And when you try to go this way, there are gaps in between that appear, and that's where teams have found joy. And I think that I don't think West Brom did that to the extent that Fulham and Aston Villa did it. I don't think they did it to that extent. But what they did do today in that second half was they started frustrating Liverpool. They started, they were winning their battles. They kind of pushed a little bit up the pitch. So what happened again is that compression tactic that Liverpool used, they had to kind of go a little bit back because they've got to. You can't play ahead of the team, right? Because then you're gonna get caught offside. So they had to push a little bit backwards. So they pushed Liverpool a bit back, and then the gap started to appear a little bit. I think Matip's injury was unfortunate because I think that was the turning point for the game. Because even Liverpool, and as I said it, it's injuries are Liverpool's biggest opposition at this point, and VAR. So as long as they don't suffer too much from that, and up to this point they hadn't. All the injuries that they've had, I've never felt that they've actually been troubled by it. But today I think was the first occasion where we saw them get a little bit troubled by it, because when Matip went off, it was sad. But Reece Williams came on, and I don't think he looked comfortable against West Brom, against Colin Grant, who was the striker at that point. I don't think he ever looked comfortable. I think when that first chance came, where the ball came over the top, again, it was a ball that came through at first for I believe it was Callum Robinson, and when he played that brilliant pass over the top for Colin Grant to chase down, and Williams lost that battle. He pretty much lost it. And if Alisson Becker is a great goalkeeper, so if it wasn't for Alisson, that probably would have been a goal. But I think that kind of flustered him a little bit. I think he kind of, and then you could see him at times, he was dropping behind Matip because he got scared that he could be overrun. Because otherwise he was pushing up, and that's normally what Liverpool's defenders do, is they push up. But because they've got Van Dijk, because they've got Gomez, they've got Alexander-Arnold, they've got Robertson, these are guys with pace, and they understand, and their reading of the game is impeccable. So they don't mind going a bit up because they know they can get back and they can stop any counter attack from developing. But I don't think Williams has that experience, has that news. So when he went up, because that's the way the team plays, he went up and then he got caught out by Callum Grant. I think in his subconsciously, in his mind, he was thinking, I've got to drop a little bit back because otherwise I'm going to get caught out. And doing that, what it meant was that every time Matip or Fabinho, in this case, Fabinho was pushing up, Williams was just a little bit behind. So they couldn't play that offside trap, which they normally play. And, that caused a few chances. And then Jones, for whatever reason, I think the frustration was building. And I think Klopp, lost the plot a little bit as well with his ranting. You don't need to do, it was a foul. To me, it looked like a foul. Jamie Carragher on TV goes, oh, it's not a foul, whatever. But the fact is, you're pulling into a defender. These kind of fouls are given. We've seen them been given. It's just a foul in the halfway line. It's not a free kick that's going to cause Liverpool a lot of damage. It's not a penalty that's been given. It's just a foul. And when you see your manager animated and getting frustrated and getting angry, what that does is sometimes it transmits onto the players. It can have a positive impact with the players go, he's angry. We better up our game, and we get it. But in some cases, it also goes, even he's frustrated. Even he knows we're in trouble here. So what do we do? What do we do? And I think that play that led to the corner initially was sloppy. I think Jones was a bit too casual. I think he was very casual in that second half as well. Throughout that second half, he looked a little bit like at ease. And maybe this is a sign of a player who's starting to take his place, because he knows he's going to play because of the injuries. And maybe it's someone who's starting to think, maybe starting to read too much about himself. Maybe he's thinking a little bit too highly of himself. So maybe Klopp needs to have a talk with him and a chat with him, because there were a couple of moments where he was a bit sloppy in the pass. He gave the ball away, and then he puts Williams in danger. I think Williams played a header that he didn't have to play, and he just headed it back. He wasn't under any pressure, but or under any serious pressure. But I think he was just a bit flustered, so he hits it back. I actually thought Alisson Becker, he was running behind the ball. It was funny to me. I mean, I don't know, maybe there was something that was missing, but I thought Alisson was going to catch that the way he was running behind it, and he just let it go out for a corner. Maybe he was afraid of diving to the turf for his injury issues. I don't know. Maybe the ball was a bit faster than it looked to us from TV, at least to me. But I felt like he was running behind it to catch it, but then he just let it go for the corner, whatever the reason being. And then the ball comes out. It was a well-worked corner, actually. I thought it was very well worked the way they played it back. And it comes in, and then it beats the entire defense. It takes Ajayi, he hits it. And anywhere else, I think Alisson would have saved it. But the fact that it hit the post, it's one of those things where you just can't legislate for that, and it just goes in. I actually thought it came out for a second, but it actually went in. It was a brilliantly worked corner, but Liverpool were the architects of their own demise. And after that, it was just a matter of West Brom holding on. I thought West Brom were a little ambitious in that second half. I thought there were a few moments where You would have expected them probably to run the ball to the corner or try and keep the hold of the ball, but they were actually trying to attack, and I thought that might have cost them, but actually it didn't. They were lucky it didn't. And then there was that late chance of Firmino, brilliant cross that came in, and a great header. And that was the second time. That was only the second time when I thought, what, West Brom have been cut open to the point where there's no defender around the player. There's nobody kind of where everything looks a little bit. But Liverpool have managed to get behind the defense, right? I think that was the second moment. And Johnstone came up with a great save, a wonderful save. I thought that was a goal at first, and I thought Firmino actually missed it, but actually it was a great save. It was a great save from Johnstone, and they saw it up. It's a great win, 1-1. I think in terms of the race, I think it's good news for Leicester, and Spurs are going to play after this, so it's good news for them because the point that Leicester got is not going to keep them too far away. So it gives them a little bit of hope. It's a good point. If Spurs can now beat Liverpool, that will bring them back into the conversation again. So they'll be happy with that as well. And again, it's sad to see because Chelsea, if Chelsea had beaten Arsenal, they would have been in the conversation again. But Chelsea have just been so poor over the last 3 games. They've or 4 games rather. Even including West Ham, they got a bit lucky against West Ham. But the last 4 games have been so bad. They must be kicking themselves for having let go a chance where they could have put some pressure on Liverpool. But ultimately, I in terms of the overall season, I don't think it's going to affect the Premier League title race outcome. It's not. I think Liverpool is still going to win the title. I don't. Even with this game, what I saw today is that there is a way where you can get at Liverpool and probably score a goal, probably frustrate them. But it's one thing to do it for 45 minutes. It's another to do it for 90 minutes. It's going to be a hard ask for anyone to try to keep Liverpool quiet for 90 minutes. Because literally the only way West Brom would have won playing that way was if they had kept Liverpool out for 90 minutes and not letting them score, and then got that goal at the end. But that it's too much to ask anyone to keep a clean sheet against this Liverpool team in that kind of mood. So it's good for a point here, and it's not going to work every time. So again, I still struggle to see which team is going to beat Liverpool, how Liverpool are going to get beaten, because that's what needs to happen. Other teams need to keep winning, but some teams need to also beat Liverpool. It can't always be about getting draws. So I don't think it affects the outcome of the Premier League. What it does do, however, it's probably exposes a few chinks in the armor. There might be a few draws because of this, because of the way that these teams play, and that might affect them in terms of the Champions League, because that's where I feel the competition is going to really come from, and maybe there are teams that can probably exploit Liverpool's sudden I don't know what it is, sudden aversion to being attacked. It almost feels like Liverpool don't like being got at, and that's it was a problem with Pep Guardiola as well for a while, where he didn't like his team. Where, if you kind of attacked them, they kind of got flustered, as if like, oh my god, teams are attacking us. Why? How dare they attack us? It might feel that way with Liverpool at the moment. It's starting to feel that way where Liverpool kind of get flustered. I thought at the end, Jurgen Klopp's reaction spoke volumes. The way his mouth was open, the way he was thinking, how can a team have a goal against us? How could a team score against us when we are 1-0 up? Like, it's one thing when they score against us when we are 3-0 up, but how dare they score against us when they're 1-0 up? The expression was almost like, how are we drawing this game? Why? How is this 1-0? It almost felt that way a little bit. But that is a small chink in the armor, in all seriousness, and that's something that the club will have to address. And injuries are not helping, but he's going to have to find a solution for that. But that's really the only chink. I don't see it as a major issue at this point. It's the issue, I think, with Liverpool is as many weaknesses as they have, and they have one or two maybe. The problem is the teams around them have so many more weaknesses, so many issues, that you just don't feel it being big enough in this case. But in the Champions League, that might be an issue. So that's something to work on if that is a goal this season. But anyway, it finishes Liverpool 1, West Brom 1. Samuel Ajayi apparently keeping his, I didn't know this before, but he's kept his record of not having been beaten at Anfield. 4 times he's gone there, 4 times he's got something with different teams. But it's a wonderful result for Samuel Ajayi for West Brom. I think Liverpool a little bit back to the drawing board, but they've got games. Games are just coming thick and fast at the moment. We've got games coming tomorrow as well. 28, 29. We've got more games coming. It's like almost like there's no rest at the moment. I wonder what Klopp has to say about that. He's going to be fuming with another injury, and then he's got to play another game in another 48 hours or so. But anyway, it's finished at Liverpool 1, West Brom 1. Smash like if you enjoyed the match, if you enjoyed the result, if you were a West Brom fan or a non-Liverpool fan, if you enjoyed that result, smash a like. And let me know in your comments, what do you think? What do you think Liverpool, where do you think Liverpool lost this game? Do you think Liverpool need to do something to address that? Listen, let us know in the comment section as well about that. And please subscribe to the channel if you're new. Really want more subscribers for this channel, would really like that. Would appreciate your support. So please do subscribe if you're new. But thank you so much for watching. I'll be back with the Tottenham Wolves match reaction. We'll do that. So that's going to happen. It's actually, yeah, it's Wolves against Tottenham, right? Isn't it? Yeah, it's Wolves against Tottenham. That's a big game. That's a very important game now for Mourinho, because it's got a way back in. He's got to take it, because Leicester have dropped points. Liverpool have dropped points. Chelsea have dropped points. So now he's got a chance here to put some pressure there. He's got to take that today. So it's a big crunch game, and he's got to go for the win. He's got to try and win that game. But we'll see what happens. Take care. Have a good day or night, whatever time you're watching this, and we'll see you again very, very soon. Bye-bye.